File requests from multiple professional, services. So we have, through Mr. Maple's office, sent out some requests to get some of our documentation that we are lacking. Some success, Mr. Kissinger Palermo's office has been relatively receptive of it, and they said it's just gone, but they've been open to any time you've asked them for anything.
Well, I asked them for a copy of the latest escrow, because apparently you have a lot of money in escrow accounts that's just sitting there. And if your engineer or professional are doing work, then that money should be transferred from the escrow account to your general fund. And it appears like, it appears, I'm not saying it actually, but it appears like money's just sitting there. So I asked today for information. I think he sent you a copy of it. He's referenced it June of 2022. So I'm gonna ask him to send it to me instead, because I don't.
Yeah, we don't have
The
it.
records here are a mess. They really are. There's no filing system in the house. None.
Both Mr. Harshman and Scarmazzi have both said that there is a lack of keeping track of the escrows. I mean, our engineer and our developers are saying that they have no idea where their escrows are at. They have no record of it. They said every once in a while the township would ask them for money. They'd ask for a detailed accounting of their escrows. They don't have them. We have a QuickBooks that has a escrow, thing on it. There has been one transaction in a year. It was 2 days before they all left for a lumber company. So that is the only record keeping of escrows that is in the QuickBooks. I can see, I mean, we're still trying to get to the bottom of it, but I can see that in Harshman's bills, there is job titles down the list.
That's what you gave me last night.
Okay, so this was last year though, but, there's overdrawn escrow accounts where the townships paid costs on behalf of the escrow benefactors in excess of their deposits. This is Mr. Palermo writing the township secretary, saying that the taxpayers of Union Township are funding development because the escrows are in the rears, or there is no accounting for the escrows, so it's basically coming out of the general fund. We recommend you reach out to everyone and ask them to restore their escrow accounts to their original balances. For instance, NVR Ryan Holmes, Peter asked them for a check for $9,280.70 plus their original balance. There is highlighted things of, and this is a year old, we have no record of where the escrows are accounted for. Scarmazzi has no idea where his escrow is or what the accounting is. Mr. Harshman's bills appear to have job titles on them, numbers and codes on them that are supposed to come out of escrows. It appears that the secretary was merely just giving a general fund. So it would be like dealing with a business on a daily basis and just paying off their monthly statement versus every invoice for the month. So they were paying what appears to be, they're paying the statement for Harshman without the invoices, which would be in the chart of accounts of where each invoice should be coming from. What escrow, what account, what grant, what, so they're paying a blanket statement amount at the bottom of $50,000 or $60,000, but it's not broke down to where that money should have come from, what account it should have come from. Working with an accountant who has been working free of charge so far, trying to help me figure out how we can account for it. We did ask Mr. Harshman at your office a month ago, and he said, yeah, he's like, I struggled with that all the time. And just figuring out where the escrows are at. Mr. Scarmazzi wasn't even asked, he brought it up yesterday, that he struggled constantly with an accounting for where his money was going. You know, Harshman would ask him for more money, but he can't get an accounting of what they're doing with the money. But that was the first time I had ever heard about that. Was yesterday from Scarmazzi. So it's gonna be a detailed find on what to do about where these escrows are at. There's some, I think NVR with as much things that they had, they maybe only ever put $9,000 into an escrow, and that was with PDRs, subdivisions, hearings.
But there had to be some type of agreement between the NDR and the township. but do we have the agreements?
Well, that brings me to my other statement. Who would write the agreements but Mr. Sweat Law Firm? And Mr. Sweat Law Firm would like to charge the township to get their own files. So he once paid, a period of time of money from, the last week he was here, which would have been a week without supervisors.
Correct.
So I don't know who his bosses were, so he gave a bill for the last week when he gave his resignation or his notice, and then all of the supervisors resigned. There were no supervisors here to direct him to do anything, but he has a bill for that week. He would like that paid. To summarize his position, no action will be taken on the 4 paid requests until my bill is paid in full. We would be happy to communicate with the former secretary concerning the location of all the information or files. For the example, my office compiled a 3-ring binder for the Mater litigation. This notebook contains all the complaints, motions, and court options, so I guess that's the only case he wants to reference. The only decision not in the notebook is still about Mater situation. If files need to be copied and duplicated, I need your professional assurance that my firm will be reimbursed for all its time and expenses. As we work on assembling these files, we will charge the township the municipal rates we charge during our service as the township solicitor. So to copy files, he would like to be paid as a solicitor, have to pay an attorney to copy files that he should just hand over, in my opinion.
Files belong to the township.
They belong to the township, but he would like to keep his copies and charge us for duplicating at solicitor rates. So, or he'd be happy to work with the old secretary that's no longer employed, so I don't know what, of course, that would be at solicitor rates as well. And he would like to get paid for his week that he worked with no bosses.
And how much is that?
$4,313 for
Yeah.
4 weeks
Yeah.
worth of work.
Use that money to investigate it.
Right.
Files belong to the town, so we'll take the appropriate.
Why, in my opinion, I don't need to pay him to,
Retrieve the files.
retrieve or copy something that is ours. He was paid once for it, why he would, and I would think that it would be electronic anyways, he handwriting this stuff, I mean,
It's all
it's really, yeah, he's gonna pay us an hourly rate as a solicitor. What was his rate, $175 an hour to make copies?
Yeah.
Stuff we should have in this
And
building.
there's the files you should have had to begin with.
Those are our files, they belong to us, can't there be an injunction?
We're gonna take the appropriate action.
All
And
right,
some of
Well,
those
we
files
should.
are our employment files, our employee files, are
So
not in
he
this
should have never
building.
had them.
He has,
Things
he
that
has,
he
so it
should
means he
have
has
never
Albert's,
had.
he has
It
Albert's
means he has
personnel
a-
file.
Yeah, he has Albert's personnel file and other people's personnel files.
And what are they doing with them? Like, say, my personal file, why would he have to have it?
He was appointed, was it Human Resource Council? According to that. What, Mrs. Puglisi, what did the township pay him during his time here? You don't say anything.
next job.
What?
When did they pay Sweat's Law Firm? 2016 through now.
I never added them up totally.
What would you get?
Mr. Wilson would know though.
What?
I
yearly,
guarantee-
Roundabout yearly figure.
Oh, yearly. Well, it went up and up and up. It started at,
400,000 a year.
last year was 310, 380 somewhere. I don't know. They
The only
budgeted
references-
310.
Could you show them what we asked, the documentation, it's on your top there. So we sent, them through Mako and Associates, a list of all the documentation that we believe that were due, that was ours. So this is a list of all of the things that the PCSA litigation, the, employment files, so he only references one case in his answer, like none of this other stuff happened, 300 and, so, maybe we could even find out who was following Albert around, what the name of that firm was, or why they were following,
Can I
or,
make a statement about Mr. Sweat and his office, please? Please, I wanted to say this before, but this is a good one. Is anybody familiar with getting a random drug test?
Yeah.
What is a random drug test?
that was a.
You come in the morning, 9 o'clock, you go.
Mhm.
I didn't get one, but two guys over there in October got one.
This past October?
Yeah, from Sweat's office, not from here, Sweat's
Because they were
office, let me
HR,
stand up.
PSAS, the
From Mr.
contact for the CDL program.
From Mr. Sweat's office, yeah, this is a CDL thing. They had an option going from, I'm gonna say, October 21st to November 15th. Pick your day when you wanna go get a drug
It would give
test.
them a month and a
Pick
half.
your day.
That's what it was.
A month and a half drug test.
And I can get you, hey, I'll have Ron.
I believe our tax collector.
Can you
even
get that,
spoke at
Tony?
the- Oh, yeah, our tax
Oh, I'll
collector
get
even
one.
spoke at the podium.
It
saying
came,
this is
but
a-
it came from his
drug
office,
users-
not from the office in
She
here.
comes from the secretary treasurer.
Nope.
No,
Mr.
it
Cruz
came
would
from,
send them over
she asked me about it.
So a
And
month and a
since,
half to go.
since I
get
got
a
like
drug
no
test.
respect for her, she asked me about it, I said, no, you have to give it to them the same day they go for their test.
To Judy Taylor for the insurance.
Oh, no, they had an option, they had 6 weeks to go from the date they handed it to them, pick your day, then,
They
take the
would give
day
it to
they
them
got
as soon as
it.
they got it.
Did you ever have that
I just need time to
choice?
get off my cocaine,
No.
it's like,
Not
okay,
when I worked at
2 weeks,
Preston.
and I'll go down.
When I worked there,
This
I
is-
come in and Bobby said, you
And
gotta
this
go
is
for a
what,
drug
this
test
is
right now.
what we
Right.
put up with over
That's how it
there.
is
Excuse
supposed
me,
to be.
I'm betting, I'm sitting
But
down
it came
and keeping my
from
mouth
Sweat's
shut.
office.
But this is, I had to say this too. I'm
And
sorry.
keep in mind, the results of those drug tests are still at his office.
Probably, but
Yeah, they went to him. They went to them.
it went
He's the
from
one that
Sweat's
ordered them, he's
office,
the one that registered
Sweat's
the
office, not
PSAS.
from here.
I mean,
Judy used to
PSAS
give
does
them to
it for
us.
you, but they had to go
Bernie
through
Spear
Sweat
gave them to
Offer.
us, whoever gave them to us, back in the day, you came over and said, hey, you got a drug test.
Right.
Steve Parrish came over,
Go now.
as a supervisor.
Yeah,
You gotta
yeah.
go,
Go now.
you got 1 hour,
Right.
go.
Right.
This is what, again, was controlling this township.
And they sent the results back to the office here, they didn't go to somebody else.
No, they
They
sent
came
it
right
to
to the
Sweat
back
township.
there.
Offer, because Michael Crooney was their contact.
But it could be a HIPAA violation.
Just saying, Michael Crooney was their contact.
That's right, the hip law, get them.
So while you're on the roll with
Now,
that,
Sarah
that law
Scott from
firm,
Sweat
keep
Law
it
Firm
going.
was our open records officer.
So, when I was sitting in the audience, and my big problem was how much money we were spending on, attorneys and engineering firms. I tracked, and I stood at the podium probably less than a month before everyone left, and I had, obtained the numbers that I had through audits that we had and bill pays. And I totaled up what we spent from late 2017 till the third quarter of 2021 on legal services. Now, these are all of the attorneys that we had, and it was $848,000 and change that was spent.
And they still didn't give that man a discount on his taxes.
So it was a great deal of money.
That was quite a revelation, I saw that video.
And also, in engineering fees, it was over $1 million. And it was from documentation I got from this table.
But
bill
Mr.
pays,
Scarvese doesn't
and
know where his
audits.
escrow went.
And that's the only information that I got that was generated from this building. So if it's incorrect, I can only say that that's what I got from this building, from right to nose and from bill pays that were put out.
I spent 6
At the
hours
end.
of my week trying to calculate the union dues from March through December, because although they withheld them from their paycheck, they didn't pay them to the union.
I can say that I kinda got dragged on over to here to the township because I was over at the Peters Creek Sanitary Authority. The situation between Peters Creek Sanitary Authority and the Union Township had deteriorated rapidly. There were lawsuits involved with multiple attorneys and multiple sources. It was well over $1 million was spent on the lawsuit. The final result of all of that in front of the judge, Lucas, in Washington County, was to go right back to the point that they started from before the lawsuits ever occurred. So there was over $1 million spent in legal fees for nothing. not a
And
single
even Mr. Scarmati
dime was used.
was charged twice for his storage module because he was told that everything was gonna go through Union Township. And then he was told that everything was gonna go through Peters Creek Sanitary. He said at the last minute, we told him that Peters Creek Sanitary was always your authority. We don't know why Union Township was charging you for storage inspections. But I took some, pictures and videos of the offices dated back to the day that we took over. We had a lot going on in the last week, so at the next meeting, I'm considering if the board's not objective to do a PowerPoint presentation of what we were left with. I mean, the fact that we have project managers' desks that are empty, engineers' desks that are just stacked underneath tables, or, it's disgusting what we were left with. And what we were left with is like somebody threw it on the ground, picked it back up, shoved it in a drawer. And like 90% of the drawers are empty. Menus and napkins and stuff from fast food is pretty much all we were left in the desk drawers. But I did take some video to document it when we first came in. And as we start building files and stuff, hopefully to make it better. But that's where we're at with our trying to get our information from our well-paid professionals. So,
And what's the status of Sweat's escrow money? Because that was not addressed in that.
so I'll be honest with you, what I can see is that it was never really an escrow. So there's some documentation about, bills coming to the township and him requesting the secretary to send the bill to be paid through his office or another attorney's office so that it was, more confidential. So it wasn't necessarily a client trust, it was the bills came in that to the township, they knew what they were, and then they would subvert the money over to Sweat Law Firm, knowing exactly what that amount was. It wasn't like it was being held in an account, it was a bill would come in, he would request that the bill gets paid through his office, and so they would then approve a check for Sweat Law Firm in that amount, and the money would go from here to him, and then his. So it makes it very hard if, like the person that Albert says was following around, was the township their client, or was an attorney firm their client? We can't even get the information from them if we weren't the ones that hired them. So if their contract was with our solicitor, or the contract was with another attorney, they were paid for and their contract's with them. We can't get it because we were never the client
But we can't get the information from Sweat.
from Sweat Law Firm. But he wants us to pay him his hourly rate as a solicitor to give us our own documentation about our employees, about anything else, any
Didn't he
contracts we
resign
have.
as a solicitor? Didn't he resign as a solicitor? And he's not your solicitor anymore, am I correct?
Correct.
From the moment of
He
resignation,
believes
there's
he's
only one
entitled-
callback.
He believes his position is we're asking for something that belongs to him, copies of something that belongs to him. My personal position is we're asking for our files.
Files, myself, once I do something for the client, the file actually belongs to the client.
Correct.
So if they make a request, I can't do what he's doing.
It would be like you changing doctors and then making you pay for your own medical files to go to another doctor. It's your files, you paid them to create those files, they're your files.
Actually, the residents
try.
and taxpayers of Union Township paid for that already. The taxpayers and residents of Union Township should be outraged that you didn't get
He
what
didn't
you
get enough.
paid for.
He would like more of your money.
I think that's why your idea of doing some sort of an available video or informational display for the public would carry a lot of weight. Just to present it, not overboard, don't be libelous and all that kind of stuff. Say, we wanna make you aware of something, and we wanna show you some evidence of what's taking place. You don't have enough following here in this community. I'm around all aspects of things. You know that, Michelle. I stop in and bother you all the time. So, I'm just an average Union Township guy. Nobody knows about what's going on.
I think you need to
No.
share that letter with everybody.
So,
And it's preposterous his offer to work with the ex-secretary treasurer. What was that? She doesn't work here anymore. Why would we pay him to work with a ex-secretary?
because there was obviously some confidential information that was shared between them.
Yeah.
That would be a logical assumption.
Just for the record, there's no filing system.
Yeah.
I mean, I was here last night after, we had an information meeting with Mr. Scarmese in the afternoon. So I came back here, when you go back in that one office, there's files all over the place, there's no rhyme, no reason. No filing system, because when you get something in my office, you double hole punch it, you put it in the file, you index it and everything else. There's no filing system. There's stuff just put in envelopes or folders, and you have John Doe here, Susie here. You can't find anything.
You know how bad it is when a developer asks you for an amendment to their sequestered account agreement, you have to ask them a copy of the sequestered account agreement? If you don't have one,
where would
how
the
can we amend
liability,
something we don't even have?
yeah, where would the liability stand as it relates to, chain of custody for public documentation? Is that not a standard? I mean, that begets liability on a personal basis from the supervisor. Just curious.
Well, these things we have to look at.
Yeah.
You know, to call them professionals, like a professional would, you know, leave great facilities and give you your information. What good is it to that law firm to
Yeah.
keep our information?
Other than,
Hostage.
Aggravation.
or
More money.
there's still something deeper that we don't know about, and he does not want us to know about.
But yeah, we have a big square garbage can in the back of mixed stuff.
That C-cam,
Let's see.
the
Big
trailer,
square.
the truck trailer.
A truck trailer full of documents back there. Don't forget, y'all can't
If
go
you-
in there
if you-
because you're not
Let me
bonded.
ask you, is that C-cam, is it heated?
No,
No.
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen, we had another township, they had a truck trailer, they put all that stuff in the truck trailer. Same thing like you have back here. And there's no heat, you got moldy.
and every
So we
file
have to
cabinet
all
in
work.
this building is empty. There's room in this building, they're all empty file cabinets.
It's gonna get, if there's no heat, it's gonna go, you just might as well throw it away afterwards. How long's it been back there?
That's why I put the
2
bunch in.
years? 3 years?
2 years, Albert?
2 years, and we've had it for,
3
when
years.
Kenny was here.
Is there a light?
No, back, he's
Is there a
saying
light?
back there,
Oh.
no, there's no electric at all in
Is there
there.
a light inside or anything?
Nope.
No,
I
no.
didn't see anything.
Flashlight.
I went in there in July, I thought I was gonna rotate him and that.
Candle.
And speaking of chain of custody, there's police files out there.
That was in
$5 lock
2019.
Police files?
There's police files out there.
Did you hear that, chief?
Boxes and, well, it wouldn't be his.
Yeah, but
I reached out to him on what to do about it back.
What should we do, chief, on this?
Contact the DA's office regarding that.
Can you do that?
I can do so definitely, have him call down and speak with someone here, who does he contact?
You mean those files, that's
Well,
what I,
he sent me,
They're
what
owned by
to
the-
do and then they all left. I was working on that with him
did I,
and then they all left and I had so much more to work on.
what file, would that be
Their
for?
files from the,
They're Southwest Regional,
if there's something we need to contact them regarding their custody of them, but they are previous Union Township Police Department files. They should be turned over to the DA's office upon the time of the, department disbanding.
Which should be for.
I thought
everybody.
we disbanded the police department, I thought I
Yeah,
had,
but they're homicide files. They're like ones you have to keep forever. Murders have no statute of limitations. So they're
There's certain
not
ones that are
there.
75 years or longer, depending upon what type of files they are. They should have been surrendered to the DA's office back
well, I
then.
thought I had somebody come in here years ago, didn't I?
The state police did
That
come in.
was under Union Township's police department.
We had an
This is
evidence room there.
I
So
know.
what happened was they remodeled the building. There was an evidence room up until then, even though we didn't have a police.
Because all the guns, they took out all the guns and all.
Those the state police had taken out, but there's homicide and murder files and suicides.
So you'll call the DA's office?
I'll speak with Mr. Walsh tomorrow.
Me and
He's available.
Karen came
And see
across
if we can
them.
make a kind of rating.
We didn't know we were coming across them, me and her were.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Alright. What's
But
next?
there is a $5 EV's hardware lock keeping them secure, so it's good.